Hello and welcome to the YouTube channel of mprugs.com. My name is Mike. I'm the moderator in the series of videos that is all about Persian rugs and handmade carpets from around the world. I welcome you to our channel and I hope you and your family are doing well. In this video today, this was suggested by one of our viewers who asked about tribal Persian rugs. So if you are into Persian rugs, if you like the old school types of tribal rugs, please watch this video. I think you're going to enjoy it. I'm going to try to give you a little bit of backgrounds since there are many different types of tribal rugs. But in this video, I'm going to be featuring a tribal Persian rug that is known as a Bakhtiari. So to get started, I'm going to first of all step aside. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a background. And then, as I always do, I'm going to feature the two pieces that I picked out for you for this video. And then I'm going to close things off. But first thing I need to do is I need to step aside and make a little bit of room because I want to give you a little bit of background. The Bakhtiari rugs in Iran, South Central Iran. And what I did here for you is if you look at the map of Iran, and I chose the map that shows the provinces. You will notice, and the best I can tell you is follow the happy face. The happy face is the province of it, right there in the northwest corner. I'm sorry. You will notice there is Bakhtiari province, and to the north of it is Isfahan, and you will see that the happy face right there, and I put it there, is because this is where a lot of these types of carpets are produced. Now, the Bakhtiari people, depending on, some people have also compared them to the Lori. You will oftentimes, some people refer to, they're somewhat related or befriend very close to the Kurdish people. And so this is a typical tribal community. It's a very rural area. And even though I was born and raised myself in Germany, my family's from Iran, when people talk about tribal versus city, I always look at it as urban versus rural in Europe or in the States where I moved to. So to me, the tribal areas of Iran, they are reminiscent of what I basically call the rural parts of the United States. Generally old school, old-fashioned ways of just the living, the way they exist. And you can see that in the carpets. The tribal rugs tend to be, some people call them boring. Others think, and I myself included, I think there are beautiful pieces and they are reminders of what, in my opinion, Persian rugs are all about. But because I do not feature a lot of tribal rugs in my own website or in our family business, being that we're wholesalers who kind of specialize in the high-end rugs, we don't have a whole lot of these. And so when I make these videos, I always try to talk about things that I know something about. And so in the case of the Bakhtiari rugs, my knowledge is somewhat limited. I do know, for example, that these types of rugs come south of Isfahan, and we have had many rugs from them. But, for example, to the left of me here is a very high-end version of a Bakhtiari. The one on the right is classic. This is, 100 knots per square inch on a good day, whereas the one on my left, this one is about 350 knots per square inch. And you will also notice, if I step aside, if you look at the map, and this is a close-up. I showed you earlier province of Iran. Well, now I zoomed it up and you can see Isfahan. And you notice again the happy face. Right before the Isfahan, the city of Isfahan, which is the largest city in this area and a very big rug producing area, there is also the Bakhtiari province right below it. And you notice I put the happy face there in the corner. That is where you can see the Bakhtiari rugs are made throughout the province. There is not one particular place. Some of them are nomads, some of them are small communities. But the Bakhtiari rugs are known for being made in the Bakhtiari region in the province. And so, but you can also see the influence because the biggest market for these types of rugs is Isfahan. This is where they get shipped out of and sold. You will also notice the influence. If, for example, again, if I step over on this side, you can see some of the colors to this piece, the finer piece right here. You can see some of the Isfahani influence in terms of design and everything. Oftentimes the tribal rugs are much more geometric, whereas like for example, tribal rugs tend to be lesser into the flowery designs, whereas in the city rugs you have the curvatures and all that. In the tribal rugs, you notice, I always say they're much more edgy. There's a lot more geometric patterns in the tribal rugs. And for example, recently I made a video about the tile design, the garden design. And I featured also a very large Bakhtiari. Here's a picture of it. And you can see again, this is actually a very common design in the Bakhtiaris. And best thing to do is if you're into these types of rugs, simply Google Bakhtiar carpet, and you will be able to see hundreds of them. Now, what I like about them is their simplicity. You will notice that especially the older pieces, like this piece right here, this one, we're talking about, we think it's about 80 years old, based on the condition, everything about this carpet. But on the older pieces, pure vegetable dyes. That was common. The newer pieces tend to be a little bit less because again, it's a cost, it's availability and cost. And a lot of people make a big deal about the vegetable dyes versus the regular commercial dyes. Honest to God, I don't see a big deal. It doesn't add any value or anything. I can tell you that when you go into the stores, they're generally always sold as vegetable dyed tribal rugs. If it's a new rug, the chances of it being vegetable dye, pure vegetable dye, is very low. In the last 20 years, 30 years, that's no longer really the case. But in the older pieces, like this one right here, you will see it. And that's when you see that there is the difference in the colors. And when I get behind the camera and I show you the close-ups, you'll see what I'm talking about. You can see how the dyes in the wool, how it's breaking down over decades, and they change differently. And this is the difference between pure vegetable and when you have something like this that is basically a mix of vegetable dyes and commercial dyes. This is what you would expect to buy. They sell them to you as vegetable dye, 100% vegetable dye, but the chances of it being the case, slim to none. So also what I wanted to show you about was I got a couple of pictures, and this is something I actually don't like to do. And it is mainly out of respect to the weavers. In Iran, people are very conscientious. Well, I always say in the United States, we have what is known as the First Amendment, freedom of speech. And in Iran, well, there is the opposite of it. And we are mindful also of cultures and religion. One of the things I do not like to do, and this is very important, I want to say this up front, I don't like to take pictures of people and post them, on the internet or something, unless I have their specific permission to do so. So many years ago, these pictures are actually about 20 years old, and they're not the greatest quality. But I wanted to show you what typical carpet weavers, what it actually looks like. And here we have a couple of pictures. Here is a picture, that's my mom. She's the one who handed the camera over to a friend of hers. That's my mom standing in front of the weaver. And even though this picture was taken in Tabriz, and I do apologize for the quality of it, this is a very classic, this is a typical way of how carpets are made in Iran. Oftentimes you see pictures, where the ladies are sitting there and they're wearing traditional clothing and everything. Well, these are what I call the Instagram and Photoshop pictures. On an everyday, what you see right here, this is everyday type of picture. You see the man sitting up there weaving a carpet. Or in this picture, you see husband and wife sitting side by side. And the reason that she's wearing a chador, the cover, is because we were taking a picture. Now, when a husband and a wife are alone, I've never heard of a case where when a husband and wife are alone, where the wife would be wearing a headscarf or something. But obviously, because we asked permission, and they granted us the permission to take a picture, we took the picture, and this is why the lady is covered up. But you can see, even amongst whether it's Tabriz, this is pretty much a universal picture. This is how rugs are woven. There is no fancy traditional clothing or something that they're wearing. They're wearing work clothes. They're wearing the most comfortable, the simplest of clothing, and this is what you get. But having said that, again, I don't like to take pictures of people, being mindful of cultures, religion, and everything. And so when I do sometimes get questions like I did about the weavers, I've had people, like in this case, Perry, asking me to make a video of the tribal rugs, and he particularly pointed out the Bakhtiaris. So I hope I have been able to fulfill something that you wanted. But I'm always mindful of the people. So that is why you don't see me taking a whole lot. I don't like to insert just go to the Middle East and just take pictures of people and all that stuff. That's just not who I am. So there is introduction to the Bakhtiaris. Now what I'm going to do is, as I always do, is I'm going to get behind the camera. I'm going to feature some of the highlights of these two pieces, and these are very well, the one to my left here, this is an extremely rare piece. This is not your average typical Bakhtiari or tribal rug. This is a class of its own. This is for those of you that are into Persian rugs. You'll know how rare it is to find a genuine old Bakhtiari in this great condition with this high knot count. But again, this is because of this is what my family does. We deal in the high-end rugs. This is what the collector would be looking for. Whereas the one on my right, this is what you typically find in stores or on the internet. And these tend to be less expensive, very durable. I mean, the wool and everything is extremely, well, this is somewhat coarse, but they're extremely durable. These rugs are designed to last a lifetime. So even when you have a piece like this, it has 100 knots per square inch. These are extremely well-made rugs, and the wool is such that it is designed to last. I mean, this is basically a working class type of carpet. It's like a good solid pair of jeans that I always like to wear. And so this is just, I have absolutely no problems recommending them to you. You will find a lot of them, and they tend to be less expensive than a lot of the other types of Persian rugs. So with that in mind now, I'm going to do what I always do, get behind the camera, show you the close-ups, and then I'm going to come back later and say my goodbyes to you. So I'm going to see you again here in just a bit. So here I am, this time from behind the camera, and as I approach the rugs, I'm just going to literally take a moment and show them to you side by side. As you can see here, on the right side is the much finer piece. That one features about 350 knots per square inch. This one is a more classic, traditional piece. It has about 100 knots per square inch. And like I said, these are made with, depending on, most of them are made with just regular wool. Sometimes the wool is actually, I have also seen Bakhtiaris made with sheep wool, although that's rare. But they do tend to be, the sheep in that region tend to be rough and tough. And so the wool is also a little bit tougher than, for example, what you would see in the Tabriz rugs. But really nice pieces. Again, I'm just going to, this is a very classic example of what a Bakhtiari rug is all about. You can see the tribal design, and this is pretty much common throughout the world, whether it is in the Caucasus region, even in places like Morocco. If you go anywhere around the world, the Persian, the handmade rugs that tend to be tribal, they tend to be what I call the edgy. They tend to be geometric. And whereas in the cities, you tend to have more curvatures. And so here you have, being that both of these are Bakhtiaris, you can see the difference in the design. The one on the right has the Isfahan inspiration, the city design. The one on the left is tribal design. But like I said, the ones on the left, and I'm just gonna, let me just grab the edge over here and swing this over. Here you can see, like I said, these are about 100 knots per square inch, but they are such that these are very well made, very tight weave. And so I have, like I said, I have no problems recommending it. This is a rug that is designed to last, and this is a rug that is designed to be used and abused. It is not something that you are buying for the sake of wanting, don't think of it as an investment. This is a rug that you're buying, for example, to pass down to your children as a gift. This is not something, you know, this one is what we call, this is a rug that memories are built on. And so that is the classic. Then on the right side, like I said, this is a phenomenal piece. This is a whole different, this is a rare example of an extremely fine Bakhtiari, and I'm just going to zoom in. You can see the features, and then you can also see the knot count. I mean, this is just absolutely phenomenal right here. You can see the quality. And this is very rare. This is not your typical Bakhtiari. But I wanted to also feature this. Again, one of our subscribers mentioned the Bakhtiaris, and I thought, well, it's time for me to expand my video collection, and so also feature some of the more traditional tribal rugs. So I hope you enjoyed these close-ups, and I'm just going to come back to you right now with the final words. So here was our video about the tribal Bakhtiari rugs. Hope you liked the video. If you are new to Persian rugs, or if you enjoy our channel, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps us out. Like I said, this is something I do on the side. It's a hobby. I try to keep it as low-based as I can. I do my best to answer any questions you may have. So if you have any questions, please put them in the comment section or visit us at mprugs.com. Feel free to email us if you have questions. I do my very best. Now, for those of you that are also looking for information about a carpet that you have, please note, below is a link to a video on what I need in order to be able to answer your questions. I talk about the picture formats, the type of pictures and everything. So if you are looking for information about Persian rugs, please watch that video below. That link is in the description. And then you can send me the pictures the way I need them so that I can quickly get back to you and give you the answers that you need. Like I said, this is a hobby for me. I try to do my best, but it is getting to become more and more, not time consuming. I mean, I love doing it. But as the channel is now growing, I'm getting more and more questions, and I tried my very best. So if you guys can help me out, that would be great, and I appreciate it. So I hope you and your family are doing well. I wish you all the best, and I look forward to coming back to you with many more videos to come. Take care. Bye-bye.